From three-wheeling around the apex on your track days, bruh, all the way to scraping the frame with a Rocket Bunny kit on. What if I told you there's a car that can do it all? This is a 2016 Scion FRS. Sometime around 10 years ago, Toyota heard our prayers for a rear-wheel drive manual car that wouldn't break the bank, and they decided to develop this thing in conjunction with Subaru. So out of that little work together came out the FRS for the United States under the Scion Sporty Toyota brand, and the rest of the world got it as a GT86, and also Subaru made these as the BRZ. Pretty much the powertrain, all the running gear of these cars are exactly the same. There's a bit of differences on the headlight design, the bumpers, and that's pretty much it. A little bit of the interior on the BRZ is a little bit, I guess, better quality. Aside that, it's the exact same car. Under the hood, all of these cars got a flat 4-cylinder made by Subaru. It's a 2-liter, and it also made around 200 horsepower to the crank. This particular one was a 6-speed manual, and you could also get this car in an automatic, but why? So in my opinion, the overall styling of the FRS 86, BRZ, whatever you want to call it, is actually really beautiful and elegant for the price range and the type of car it is. I mean, it's super simplistic, yet it looks really good. There's no angles that this car looks awkward, in my opinion. Everything just works well, from, you know, the vent with the Boxer logo on the side. You have this side silhouette, these two lines that come together in the back. And then my favorite angle of the FRS is the rear end of this car. I think they absolutely killed the way this car looks from the back. And I'm kind of, you know, still getting used to the rear end of the new GR86 or the new BRZ. I think this one looks a tad better. So here's a closer look at the 4-cylinder flat 4 made by Subaru. It's a Boxer motor, as I mentioned earlier, making around 200 horsepower. No turbos, nothing like that, even though people have been talking about it and begging Toyota and Subaru for years. We still don't have a STI or, you know, a better, more performance-y version of this vehicle. It just comes in one version. People can argue that 200 horsepower for the weight of this vehicle is the perfect power to weight ratio for a track weapon that doesn't try to kill you at every corner. And they're kind of right. This thing, for the power it has, it handles beautifully. We'll get to that a little bit once I'm behind the wheel. Aside that, these engines aren't known to be as reliable as a typical, say, Toyota like 2.4 or 2-liter straight 4, and that reason is because of the design of a Subaru motor, being 2 cylinders on each side and having gravity pull on it for the entire life of the engine, and they tend to blow the head gaskets after a while. So that is one thing to keep in mind if you're looking at a high mileage version of the F820. Another thing about the engine in this car is its placement. I had to put up the camera quite a bit higher up so you could see it. This engine is sitting quite a bit lower than your average engine in a car, which lowers the center of gravity. The reason this engine sits so low and this car is so well balanced is due to the lower center of gravity that this type of positioning provides to this car. All right, let's take a look at the storage space on the Scion FRS. And I mean, this is one of the smallest coupes aside a Miata or something you can get. So the storage space you get in the FRS is nothing to write home about. However, it's still decent. I mean, you can fit a couple of pieces of luggage, backpacks, things like that in the back. For a sports car, it's not that bad. It's pretty usable in my opinion. Believe it or not, the FRS indeed does have back seats, but as I will demonstrate right now, they aren't made for humans. Here I go. One leg is in. Okay, already are having problems here. Yeah. Okay, so if I want my other foot in here, I might have to cut this one off. All right, let's see. All right, okay, I'm kind of in, kind of. So this is what it looks like back here. My head's against the glass. And this isn't even my seating position, by the way. This would be like somewhere around here. So if you hate people, stick him back here. They'll have a great time. So another thing the FRS 86 BRZ platform is known for is Modability. I mean, I couldn't count how many different taillight options are out there for these cars. And for example, these wheels right here are off of a new 2023 BRZ that are on this FRS right here. But enough talking about the exterior, let's hop in the interior of this thing and see what it's all about. So basic Toyota key, nothing too special about it. Hopping in. And the first thing you notice when you hop into one of these cars is how low you sit in this car. You really sit in it. You don't have that like sitting on top of the car feeling with these. And the engine comes to life. The interior of a FRS is a pretty familiar and nice place to be. You know, a bunch of Toyota buttons and things, which I'm pretty used to. You have the 6-speed manual right here, thank the Lord. We have a pretty basic aircon system in this model. I think you can get a different version of this on the newer one. Pretty simple infotainment system, although this one is much nicer than the factory one. I'll put a picture of what the original one looks like right here. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but it gets the job done. We have some plasticky carbon fiber trim all over the dash right here. It is what it is, you know. It's nothing too crazy, but they wanted to make the car look a little bit more special. One of my favorite parts of the interior of the FRS is this steering wheel. Super simplistic, no buttons, no necessary need for an aftermarket wheel. I mean, this thing is as good as it gets. The size of it, the grip, the feel you have when you hold it. Door cards in this thing are actually quite nice for the price range. You have a little bit of leather right here. You have a little bit, you know, softer to the touch material all around. You know, it's not as plasticky as Toyotas of this price range usually are, but it is, you know, a bunch of plastics in this interior, but you can't really complain for how much these cars cost. The gauges on the FRS are pretty simple as well, but they still look pretty attractive. I really like that wide ring they did, and also the fact that the tach is in the middle. Another thing in this car that's not usual as per a sports car is that MPG. I mean, when was the last time you saw a Mustang or a Camaro have some number as high as that on the dash? So if you don't drive this car super sporty and crazy and, you know, cruise in higher up gears, you are very well able to get MPGs north of the 20s, even in the 30s sometimes, if most of your driving is on the highway cruising in 6th gear. Of course, you have cruise control on this wheel, but that is literally the only thing on it. You have your typical traditional stocks, couple of buttons to reset your odometer and mess with the screen in there, and that is literally it for all the amenities you have inside of the Scion FRS. The buttons over here control your traction control and your sport mode. Aside that, there isn't much to it other than to just get behind the wheel and get to driving this thing. And speaking of that, let's buckle up and take this thing for a spin. Let's go. All right, driving the Scion FRS. It's just good to be back in a simple manual transmission in a car. I mean, for all the crap people give it, it's not that bad. It definitely gets out of its own way. It's not like, you know, it has a 10-second 0 to 60 and it's like dangerous to be on the highway like an NA Miata. You can totally daily drive this thing and, you know, actually have quite a bit of fun in it. Let's get this thing into a couple of corners and see how it actually does. After all, that's this car's specialty, right? I mean, it's crazy how flat this thing is. Woo. The rear end likes to let go, especially on, you know, this thing has a little bit of a tire upgrade, but still, the tire size these come with allows for a lot of slip. Honestly, I'm just staying in third. You don't really need to go up or down. Yeah, that was a mistake to even shift right there. Doesn't have a whole lot of torque, but if you keep it in the power band and you know how to drive, this thing is loads of fun. And let's see how all the 200 horsepowers feel. A little bit of slippage right there. And that's 60. Honestly, that's not that bad. I mean, I would say this thing is decently stable even at higher speeds. Unlike a lot of cars at this type of price range and, you know, more economical sporty cars. This thing holds its own on the highway. It's kind of loud in the cabin, of course. It doesn't have a whole lot of sound deadening like a luxury car would, but it's definitely livable. Yeah, so there's this thing this car has called torque dip. That means like below anything like 4,000 RPMs, it's gutless. So as I was mentioning earlier, if you keep it in the power band, if you keep it past 4,000, you'll be fine. But shifting through gears from a standstill, it takes a while for it to get up there. And at every gear shift, it just dips below that low torque, I guess, RPM. It really doesn't make anywhere near the peak torque. I mean, and it's not much, it's 100 and change, but it's just, you can feel it. It's kind of frustrating. And that's one thing they apparently fixed on the newer models. Leave a comment down below if you guys want to see a comparison between this car and a new 86 or a new BRZ, because we got something similar to that in the works. So smash that like button and let me know. Everything ergonomically is designed to be driver focused. From the steering wheel, your seating position, you have these double bubbles in the roof to fit a helmet if you needed it. The shifter in this thing already feels like it has a short shifter on it. It's one of the tightest stock shifters I've felt on a car, which, you know, from back in the day, Toyota's actually pretty good at making good shifters, like on the old Celica GTs and things. But everything in here just feels like meant to be. And that's what most people appreciate about this car. I can totally see why this car has such a cult following behind it. If you're looking to buy one of these cars, you know exactly why you're looking to buy one of these cars. You don't just randomly stumble upon the FRS BRZ platform. You either think that they look good lowered and with cut fenders, or you want to set lap times for not a whole lot of money. And I understand both lifestyles. But even if you want to enjoy this thing out the box stock like my friend, it's a solid option as your only daily driver if you don't have people to carry or a whole lot of stuff. Get good gas mileage, and whenever the road has a bunch of curves in it, you get a massive smile put on your face. This thing is just a rocket. Drives like a go-kart for the street in the best sense of the word. Not in the sense that it feels cheap or buzzy, but it feels crazy good at handling its own weight around corners. And it's super predictable too. Alright guys, and that is all I have for this 2016 Scion FRS. Let me know if you guys want to see similar cars to this, more handling focused vehicles like a Miata or something reviewed on the channel. Let me know if you want me to make the new versus old version of this car happen. I can get something done like that. But as far as this video goes, this one is over. So make sure you smash that like button, make sure you're subscribed. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Peace out, and I'm out.